Again, Dr. Maggia, for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back after this break to NSU, where great things happen.
You and her and all the other cousins would be having tea parties in her playhouse out back. Hi, I rehearsed trying to convey the right emotion, so please don't cause a commotion and mess me up. Thanks.
I spend countless hours moving with grace, so please, be careful with flashing cameras. They can be distracting.
Grace, thy steps retrace, poor wandering one. I spend countless hours trying to perfect my pitch, so please silence your cell phones. I want to be heard.
Please adhere to the rules so we can put on our best performance for you.
Welcome back to NSU, where great things happen. I'm your host, Jillian Quarter. And again with me is Dr. Randall Webb, president of Northwestern State University. And now we have Miss Jana Lucky, the recruiting director for Northwestern. So how is recruiting going so far this year?
Oh, it's going so good. It's almost too good to be true. I'm super excited about the numbers, but mostly I'm excited about the quality of these students and the interest and how on the ball they are. So I'm very excited about what this year brings.
Is it right that you do have a group of student ambassadors and you kind of lead them in their activities their first year here?
Yes, we choose about 20 students each year that come in as entering freshmen, and they're your personality plus kind of students that are super excited about coming, and they act as mini recruiters. We train them to do campus tours. They make phone calls on Monday night. This is a group of, they've gotten really close. I mean, they do lots of our recruiting events. We get shirts to have them all match, and they work all our recruiting events. Great group of kids.
Well, speaking of mini recruiters, you have a team of wonderful recruiters, is that right? And
I do.
How many are there?
I have 5 in-state recruiters and 1 out-of-state recruiter, and then I also have an assistant director that recruits for the Scholars College, our honors college at Northwestern, and then I have an assistant director for recruiting for transfer and graduate students, and she travels a whole lot.
Great, someone for everyone, is that right?
Yes, there is.
And when they travel to different parts of the state that they're assigned to, what exactly do they do?
We do territory management. So each recruiter is assigned a specific territory or a specific group of students that they recruit. And that really adds to our personal attention at Northwestern. We don't just say it, we kind of do it and everything. Whereas a lot of universities will just send recruiters out just to cover fairs wherever they can. Our recruiters actually get to know their students and their parents and students to get to, they know who to contact for, to set up a visit and that sort of thing, because that's the recruiter that covered their college fair and is coming back for a private visit. We try to do a private visit at every single high school in our state, and many out-of-state schools. And that's really where you can go in. A college fair is sort of a big kind of, you get to see so many different people, and there's all these different colleges there, so it's kind of modge podge, and they get to get information and visit with you a little bit. But then when we follow up with a private visit, that's where the student actually gets to listen in on a presentation, ask their questions. It's more personalized for them, and we're the only school there, so it's kind of like, this is what they're here for. They're really interested in Northwestern, and so that's our follow-up visit.
Well, Dr. Webb, how important is that familiar face when a recruiter goes and visits the school?
Well, I think it's extremely important because I attend these counselors' luncheons throughout the state and in East Texas. I also attend what we call alumni student recruiting functions that our alumni host at various locations throughout the state in East Texas. And each and every time we have one of those functions, the recruiter assigned to that particular territory is responsible for having followed up along with the ambassadors and Jana to try to ensure that we get a good turnout. Essentially, every student and every parent who attends those knows precisely who that recruiter is because he or she has been calling them or writing them almost daily for the past couple of weeks in advance of the activity. So I think it's really important. Another thing that our recruiters do that I think makes a tremendous difference, they don't just email with their students, they don't just relate to them through Facebook or Twitter or something like that. They also write handwritten notes to them, and I think that's probably a person, a discerning person, let's say, would realize that that's one of the most important means of outreach that someone can do, other than face-to-face conversations with a person. So I'm just really proud of what they do, which is why I try to support them, which is why I also go to high schools and community colleges throughout the state and help recruit on those occasions. I'll be leaving, I believe, later this week again, traveling around the state.
Well, that's wonderful. And he mentioned the different social medias that Northwestern is now on. You think that's a really important way for a teenager to contact Northwestern?
Well, absolutely. I think every high school student in the world is really on Facebook, and that's the main one that we use because research shows that that's, our market is really more into that than other social media initiatives. But it's really kind of fun because the recruiters go out on the road, and we have a Northwestern State University recruiting page, and what they do is they kind of put on there, "Hey guys, I'm headed to Bonneville High School in New Orleans. Love to see you there. This is Vanner, or whatever." Kind of like where are the recruiters is kind of a neat little segment, and they put on their reminders and that sort of thing, and it's really fun for them to kind of compete over who's on there the most or who's put the most updates and that sort of thing. It really shows you how hard they work and where they travel so much and how hard they're out there competing against each other really to recruit the most students for the university, because each one of them is a Northwestern graduate. That hasn't always been the case, and I've had some fabulous recruiters that weren't as well, but these recruiters are recruiters that really are, as we're so involved in the university and super excited about making Northwestern better every day, and so they work very hard to do so.
That's wonderful that they can contact our recruiters so many different ways. What's another way to contact the recruiting office?
Well, you can email, but you can also call. We answer every call. You'll notice that when you call the Northwestern recruiting phone number, our 800 number or just the regular number, it's not a voicemail, punch this, punch that. It's a real person that actually answers the phone, and will direct you in the right way, because so many times students will call and say, "Hey, I need the recruiting office," and really what they need is admissions, or they need financial aid or something like that. So this person can kind of explain to them what they actually need and kind of get them to the right place. But most times we're able to answer their questions because our recruiters have to know a little bit about everything, about the entire university. It's not just like you can train them in one area. I mean, they have to be able to answer questions in all the different academic programs and all of that.
Well, for prospective students that are interested and that maybe their counselors haven't mentioned Northwestern or a recruiter hasn't visited their high school, can they still apply? How do they get involved with that?
Oh, absolutely. It's never been easier. They just go directly to our website at www.nsula.edu, and on the very front page it has apply for admission. That application is actually your admissions application as well as your scholarship application, so it's incredibly easy, and it goes directly to us. We can download it that day. It's the easiest process that you can imagine. Also on that page, we're putting up this week a Senior Day icon, so students can go ahead and just turn in their Senior Day reservation. They can also call our office and ask more questions about Senior Day, but our Senior Day is our largest recruiting event. It's on campus. It's next Saturday, November 5th, and we have an eclectic schedule. I mean, everything's going to happen that day. We have a 3 o'clock ball game, so we give tickets to the parents and the student. We also give purple Northwestern shirts, so those students can go to the football game with all their Northwestern gear on, and that's kind of how they start the college process. They're able to meet all the academic departments. We have a tailgate. We have a lunch set up. It's really a neat opportunity.
I think that's wonderful to be able to reach out to the students before there are even students here.
Yeah.
So what other programs like that does Northwestern offer that really reach out to the students before they're here?
Well, I would say that we do a lot of traveling for one thing. We also, anytime that I'm on the road for any purpose, I'm always looking at the possibility of locating students. It may be a parent, it may be another non-traditional type person, potential student, or it could be a teenager who's working in a store where I am. I will essentially walk in, ask them where they go to college or where they're thinking about going to college, and then I do my best to let them know the university of choice for discerning students and their parents is Northwestern. But we really do so many things that probably most universities either don't do or don't have to do, because we know we've got a message to send. We know our message is really important. We know it's a very strong, positive message about attending Northwestern and what that can mean to you as an individual, what it can mean to parents to have their sons or daughters attend Northwestern. These are the kinds of things that really, they're intangible, as you find in the hearts of people. We've talked before about our faculty, our staff, and our administrators, but there's not a person at this university who, being out in the midst of 100 or 200 students somewhere, wouldn't stop and take 5 to 10 minutes to deal with the student's needs at a point in time. And there are so many other ways that people reach out. But keep in mind that many of our staff members, Jana mentioned numbers in her office, large numbers, throughout this university, earn their degrees at Northwestern. Many even earn their master's degrees. They loved it here. They love working here. They want students to experience that. So this is probably the best outreach, other than just person to person, one student talking to another, that we could have.
So what do you think the alumni effect on students is?
Well, I think that we have alumni all over the place who call us all the time and say, by the way, we've got such and such student in our town here. This student's going to be valedictorian of a class. The student has a 28 ACT composite, nearly a 4.0 GPA, and I've been talking to them about Northwestern. I told them I'd have someone get in touch with them. We jump at the opportunity. I must admit, another source that's fed Jana's workload is the Ask the President button on the main web page. Just this morning, a student wrote and asked questions about applying for admission, whether she had to write an essay, this, that, and the other. So we put them in touch immediately with Andrea Maley, and then as well with Jana, so that we follow up just like that. We don't want to waste a moment getting back to a student.
Wonderful. So one more time, how can a student contact you and apply for admissions, and what are some of those deadlines coming up?
The main deadline December 1st is our scholarship deadline. I would definitely try to meet that deadline, because even if the student doesn't have the ACT yet or have some component of the admissions application, still submit that actual application. It takes about 10 minutes. Submit that so that you're at least in for the deadline, and then the rest of the information can follow. Dr. Webb mentioned Andrea Maley. Her office would then send back and say, you're missing this, this, or that, and then they'll send that back in. So it's in-state students, we can download the transcript almost within a week. We have that transcript sitting in front of us through the statewide transcript system, and that's a super easy way to do it.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you again, Jana, for being on with us today, and thank you again, Dr. Webb.
Sure.
That's going to do it for our show, and I know that we're so excited to have more students join our Northwestern family. So that's it for NSU, where great things happen. I'm your host, Jillian Corder.